Good. Okay, talking about response time and everything, how quickly do you think that they should be getting back to people? Like within an hour, within a day? I mean,
Um,
and also, how do you handle when people are trying to call you at 10 o'clock at night? You know?
those are that great question, Amelia. Um, I like within 24 hours. I mean, just the way I am is I'm getting back to them as soon as possible. By the end of the day, I like it. If I wait 24 hours, I feel like I've waited not too long. I don't mean to sound dramatic and like an alarmist, but these people are calling a lot of people. They've got their checklist. They're doing things. The internet has made everything more of an instantaneous world. So definitely within 24 hours.
Okay, good.
And the phone calls at 10 o'clock at night, which I get, um, I just try and remember to leave my extension. My shop is 800 square feet, which is attached to my house. It used to be my garage, and then I added on, so I just walk through a door. So when I go into the house, I try and remember to leave my phone in the shop.
That's smart. That really is.
It doesn't always work, but so that's what I do. You know, and getting off subject a little bit, it's yeah, you gotta just like at night at 8 o'clock at night, if the phone rings and it's a number I don't recognize and I do have my phone with me, I have to decide at 8 o'clock at night, do I want to answer the phone?
Mm-hmm.
Because is 8 o'clock, are they expecting to talk to someone? And I don't think they are. So
Mm-hmm.
if it's a call I don't recognize, I'll wait because even though we work out of our houses, I work 24 hours a day probably. Except we're always working. But I think there's an
Yeah.
expectation that you're not going to be there at 8 o'clock at night. So I don't feel compelled.
Yeah. Well, if I can give kind of input into what I did, when I had my actual business line for cakes, I actually had a Google phone number that went to my cell phone because my cell phone was my business phone, and and because I never used my home phone.
Not a lot of
But
people
I
do.
created a Google phone number for that so that, and I made it so that it actually had a different ringtone so
Oh,
that if
that's good.
anybody did call my Google number, I would know that it was business related. And so, at 8 o'clock at night, I didn't have to answer that, but I could still, get the phone calls from all my friends and not have to worry if I'm not answering a phone for someone who, I should be answering the phone for, or if it's someone just, calling to try and order a cake. So that
Right.
was that was one
That's
thing that
great.
really helped me out as
That's
far as
smart.
having a cell phone.
Yeah.
So yeah, I love the Google numbers.
Yeah, there you go.
So all right. So and then after you respond to them and set up an appointment, we we're going to talk about the forms that you fill out, the things that you send to them, and things you keep, and things like that. So let's see. Um, let's see. This right here is just an intro kind of a thing, saying thanks for contacting me.
No,
Is that?
actually, this is
Oh, this is a
after you get the
deposit.
deposit. Yeah,
Yeah.
this is
Okay.
something, a little part of the Craftsy class and a lot of what I do.
Hmm.
We're jumping out of the cake order form right now. A lot of people ask me, do I print brochures? Do I print this? Do I print that? You can print anything you want, and it's not a bad thing. I've been doing more and more online because things evolve and change so quickly. And one wedding cake contract, as comprehensive as I think I have it, there's always something a little different. And what I use Pages, which is an Apple product, or Microsoft Apple
Hmm.
Pages, which I love because it's a template, but I can tweak it and then I just email it. I can print it out as a document if I need to, but I can change on the spot.
Hmm.
And I like that. And
That's great. So this
email.
right here is your worksheet. So you have a contract, you have a worksheet, and then like a way of saying thanks for your deposit,
Yep.
and then you're paid in full. So this one right here is the worksheet. We're going to take a little bit of a closer look so you can talk about what each of these categories are and how you use them.
Right. This is actually something, I actually have a pad. This is a physical pad, not to contradict what I just said, but this, when I'm meeting with the client, I made this form on my computer and just printed it out and made it into pads, staples, really inexpensive. Because if I change it, it's not a huge expense to go to have a million printed. There's certain information I need to know, just generally speaking, but what this information tells me not only about this particular client, but
we're having a little bit of a pause in things. So anyway, until she comes back, this is her worksheet, and I really like the idea of her making it into a pad. So you just print off a bunch of copies of it, take it to Staples, have them make it into a little notepad thing that you can tear off the page and here you go, or I guess put it into your files or things like that. So hopefully we get Lisa back here. I'll move on to the to the bottom part in a second. So basically, and this is fairly similar to the form that I would have for myself. So you want to be able to have their name, their address, contact information, because especially with a wedding cake, you don't want to be trying to find them at the last minute and not being able to contact them because some little thing that you forgot on your consultation form. Maybe you forgot to write in what color of border they wanted, or something so simple like that. So getting good contact information, and especially for a wedding, make sure that you get contact information for someone other than the bride, because if it comes down to the day of the wedding, you don't want to be contacting the bride. So make sure that you have, either the mother of the bride, father of the bride, maid of honor, someone like that you can actually contact and be able to check with them, or say, oh, I guess I didn't write down the time of the place where we're supposed to arrive. What time did you need us to set up the cake? Or oh, we're having a problem because the location says that you're not supposed to be here till so you have someone that you can contact. Another thing is also make sure that you do get that information that I'm saying, what if you forget? Because that's really pretty important. You want to know the location, you need to know the time, you need to have someone to contact, you need to have what time the ceremony starts and what time you're supposed to be there to set up, just so that you know that your window of arrival is limited and you don't want to be showing up when they're doing the ceremony. So yeah, and so this would be the flavors, and anyway, so you want to be able to figure out what flavors they want for each layer, if you do different layer flavors or not, and then talk about the style. So in style, I always would draw pictures. Anyway, hang on, sorry. Right, so I would draw pictures, just a little sketch. And this is, last week we had a really great training, and yeah, so we had a really great training with Liz Merrick, and she talked about her the way that she does her sketches, and it would work really well into this. So basically, you would take a really rough sketch of um, sorry, trying to get through these technical difficulties. So yeah, you could do a little rough sketch on here, take all the notes you can, and then later on go and use Liz's template thing that is really cool. If you missed that last week, you need to go and watch that because it's really cool. So it looks like she has a lot of information on here. Really good information. That first question, saving top. I think that's a really good question for, brides and grooms is, are they going to be saving the top of the cake, or are they going to be, getting rid of, serving that top layer of cake? Some people like to save it, some people don't. So just to check and see, that's a question I always did ask too. I just never had it written on my form, which I think is kind of cool. You can, go through all the different, styles and things like that you like to do, or that, are available to them as options, and do it that way.